Standing before him now was an old man, his hair and beard shimmering silver, face deeply lined with wrinkles, and back hunched by the weight of years. His gaze was somber and distant, a stark contrast to the vibrant and powerful Dao Huan that Bai Zigong remembered from his youth. Yet as Bai Zigong looked more closely, the familiar features emerged, etched beneath the passage of time, a face he could never mistake. It truly was Dao Huan, his revered elder. A chill ran down Bai Zigong's spine, fear creeping into his heart as he struggled to reconcile memory with reality. Dao Huan had once been a figure of strength and dignity, a guiding presence full of wisdom and vitality. But now, standing in the dim light, he seemed a shadow of that memory, transformed by some hardship or tragedy that Bai Zigong could not even begin to imagine. "Sifu, why have you changed so much?" The question slipped from Bai Zigong's lips, his voice trembling with shock and uncertainty. In his mind, the image of Dao Huan was one of unyielding energy, a man who stood tall and unwavering in the face of any storm. To see him like this, frail, aged, and somber, was almost too much to bear. Dao Huan seemed unbothered by the question. He offered a faint, emotionless smile, the corners of his mouth barely lifting. "What's past is past," he said quietly, his voice calm and detached. "There's no need to bring it up again. Come, let's go inside and pay our respects to the ancestors of the three pure ones." With that, Dao Huan turned away, his movement slow but steady, and began to lead Bai Zigong toward the main hall. Bai Zigong followed in silence, his heart heavy as he watched the old man slightly stooped back. The smile on Dao Huan's lips lingered, but it held no joy, only resignation. Inside the hall, the air was thick with the scent of incense and the weight of tradition. Bai Zigong knelt before the altar, lighting incense and bowing his head 3 times, offering his prayers to the revered ancestors. Dao Huan stood beside him, stroking his beard thoughtfully, his eyes lost in memory. When the ritual was complete, Dao Huan let out a soft chuckle, his voice laced with bittersweet acceptance. "From now on, my young disciple, life will not be easy for you. You'll have to endure hardships living here with an old man like me." Bai Zigong hurriedly shook his head, eager to dispel any worry. "It's no trouble at all, Sifu. On the contrary, I'm grateful for the chance to learn more Taoist teachings from you." A moment passed in silence before Bai Zigong gathered his thoughts and steadied his emotions. He remembered the true purpose behind his visit. "By the way, Sifu, my master sent me here for a reason." Before he could finish, Dao Huan waved a hand, cutting him off. "There's no need for explanations, my young disciple. I already know. Dao Shu, your master, sent you to Hangzhou to seek out Dao Zhen, our fellow brother." Bai Zigong's eyes widened in surprise. Everything was already known to Dao Huan, as if nothing could escape his watchful gaze. He nodded and pressed on. "My master said you might have some clues. Sifu, do you know where Dao Zhen is now?" Dao Huan stroked his beard again, his face now clouded in thought. He paused, letting the silence stretch before finally speaking. "Dao Zhen, right now, he is on Tianmu Mountain." "Tianmu Mountain?" Bai Zigong echoed, confusion flickering across his face. "Why did Uncle Dao Zhen go to Tianmu Mountain?" Dao Huan shook his head slightly, his expression obscured by the shadows dancing across the hall. "That I do not know. I only know he entered Tianmu Mountain more than half a month ago. When he will emerge, I cannot say." With a weary sigh, Dao Huan lowered his hand, the gesture heavy with both fatigue and acceptance. He walked slowly into the small courtyard and sat down on a stone bench, his robes whispering across the ground. Bai Zigong followed, settling beside him quietly, still turning over the words in his mind. "Then, does that mean we can only wait for Uncle Dao Zhen to come out of Tianmu Mountain on his own?" Bai Zigong's tone was uncertain, tinged with worry and frustration. The courtyard was calm, the sound of distant birds and rustling leaves the only interruption to their thoughts. Dao Huan did not answer immediately. He gazed up at the sky, eyes reflecting a lifetime of trials and tribulations. The years had worn him down, but his spirit remained resolute. Finally, Dao Huan spoke, his voice gentle but firm. "Sometimes, the answers we seek are not ours to find. Dao Zhen must walk his own path, just as you must walk yours. Patience is a virtue, Bai Zigong. The world is vast, and fate moves in ways we cannot always understand. A sense of helplessness lingered between them, but also an unspoken bond. Bai Zigong realized that even in the face of uncertainty and change, the teachings and traditions of their lineage endured. The journey ahead would be difficult, filled with unknowns and trials, but he would not face it alone. In the fading light of the courtyard, Bai Zigong silently resolved to make the most of his time with Dao Huan. Every word and lesson would be treasured, every moment a step on the path to wisdom. Though the road to finding Dao Zhen seemed long and uncertain, Bai Zigong's determination only grew stronger. He would wait, he would learn, and when the time came, he would be ready to face whatever destiny had in store.